Hi there. My name is Holly Haynes. I am a business strategist who helps you build a full-time business on a very part-time schedule without being dependent on the social media algorithm. So if you are feeling overwhelmed by summer content planning, don't worry, I've got you covered because in this video, I'm sharing a super simple 3-step strategy to create content you love even while on vacation. So here's a quick sneak peek of what you're going to learn. I'm going to teach you how to set a clear 30-day profit goal. I'm going to walk you through my 30-30 exercise to brainstorm irresistible content that your audience is going to crave. Then we're going to talk about repurposing hacks to turn your content into a content machine, plus the secret weapon to scheduling so that you can actually enjoy the summer. I can't wait for you to listen to this week's episode. Make sure to comment below and subscribe so you can hear even more about how to scale without the social media drama. On this episode of the Crush to Rush podcast, we're talking about probably one of the most popular topics I ever get questions on, and that is creating content. And so what I wanted to do is, because it is summer when we're recording this, and that is sort of a season when we feel conflicted, right? Like you feel conflicted that you want to grow and you want to, scale, but you also want to take time off and take vacations. And so what if you had a super, super simple content plan that you could run on autopilot? And the best part is you don't have to do this just in the summer. You can do it all year long. And so when you're thinking about planning launches and content around vacations and kid schedules and your schedule, and you actually want to enjoy the season, this is something that you can do right now. So I thought I would break down a few things that we're doing this summer to get ahead with our content and how you can too, but actually how we're using this every single day to, what I say, make it the simplest content plan ever. This is a total win. So my number one piece of advice when you're thinking about content is that you have to create more than you consume. So as I'm recording this right now, I'm actually on a social media break. I do it about once a quarter. And to be honest, I have a really great relationship with social media right now. I did not in the past, which is why we created our anti-social strategy and basically run our business so that social media is a bonus. But I actually really enjoy social. And if I'm being really, really honest, I miss seeing my friends. That's how I stay in touch with people. And I have really, really solid boundaries. But what I find is every once in a while, I just need to step away. And what it allows me to do is, one, look at how much I'm consuming because I'm not picking up my phone 1,800 times a day. But two is really get creative. And I find when I step away from consuming, I can actually be more creative. So your first task in this season is to create more than you consume. And really think about how you can create more and consume less. And so if you didn't listen to episode 437 on how we're using AI currently to repurpose, that's a really great episode to help you consume less. And then episode 398 actually teaches you how to use a scheduling tool that we use called Metricool to schedule your content, and it makes it even easier. Again, so we're creating, we're not consuming. So that's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice is to keep it super, super, super simple. So you know that I like a basic strategy around here. And so I want you to just think about going into your content plan for this month. What is your profit goal for the next 30 days? And you might be like, well, Holly, we're talking about content, but I actually want you to think about your end goal first. So what is your profit goal for the next 30 days? Write it down. This could be a number. It could be a feeling. It could be an activity. I want to make $5,000. I want to feel really good about my launch. I just want to get my new program out in the world. Whatever it is, write it down. And then we're going to work backwards to plan, post, and then profit. Do you like how I did that? I really like that. So just a little hint. If you don't know what to offer or how to get to your goal, or how to create a goal in this category, think about what are your clients asking you? What questions are they asking you this season? If you don't have clients, ask your friends. What are questions that people are asking you? Or if you don't have a product that you're wanting to launch in this season, think of something fun that you could like bundle together, right? Like what's something that you already have? And so as an example, in this season, you could bundle multiple things together. You could create your own holiday. That's like a super fun tactic around this season. You'll see that Amazon Prime Day is coming in July. Why? Because July is a slower season. So Amazon is smart. They have really smart marketers working for them, and they're creating their own holiday. So if you're thinking about your goal and you're like, well, I don't know what my summer goal is. I don't want to launch that big thing yet. And I kind of want to do something different. Like bundle things together that you already have, or think of something that you can create. You could create a flash sale for your older offers. You could create something new but different. Like summer specifically is the time to be creative, to have fun and play around with your strategy. So just kind of like feel the season. So now that you have your 30-day goal, right? So your goal for the month, I want you to brainstorm what content makes the most sense that will lead to your ultimate offer. So step one, well, the real step one is to create more than you consume. Then we're going to say, what's our 30-day goal? And then we're going to work backwards and say, what content makes the most sense that will lead to your ultimate offer? How do you do this? What is your audience experiencing right now? Like maybe it's time to tailor your content to lighter topics, right? I would argue that this podcast episode is tailoring the questions that I'm getting in our community to like blast it out to the whole world, because these are the topics that are important right now. So what can you create that is relevant to the season? The next thing you can do is, what can you do to better understand your audience? So when was the last time you asked them? Have you done a poll? Have you surveyed your email list? Have you asked questions in your community? Like right before I hit record on this, we had a co-working session in our Crush the Rush Club. And I asked them like, hey, I'm writing some podcast episodes for this season. What would you like to see? It's really that easy, right? Like we're all about keeping things simple. And then last but not least, you've probably heard me talk about this when I talk about our antisocial strategy, and that is try the 30-30 exercise. So this is one of my favorite exercises. Once you figure out your end goal, think about 30 challenges that your client might be experiencing with this topic. And yes, it's 30. But the reason I'm going to give you the 30 number is because if you can list out 30 challenges that your potential clients are experiencing, then you're going to list out 30 ways that you can fix it, or 30 ways that your offer can fix it. And that's honestly your entire content plan. Like we could technically stop right now if you do that exercise. It's that easy. So I really want you to think about like, what challenges is your audience experiencing right now? How can you better understand them? Do a poll, ask questions, survey your email list, and then do the 30-30 exercise, because you're going to have so much content from this. And the best part is it's all going to align back to your goal. So now we have a plan, right? How do we turn it into content and then a platform? So this is where I think it gets really fun, because if you did all of this so far, you're gonna have more content than you know what to do with. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick a platform to start with. We call this our home base. It can be an email, a blog, a video, something that is long form, right? So not something that is social media. If you don't have a blog, you definitely should have email. You can create a video. You can write a blog post. Like this is just something that is like long form. For us, it's our podcast. There's multiple paragraphs of me teaching and talking about something. The next thing that I want you to do, again, we're keeping it simple, is I want you to set aside time on your calendar for 1 day a week using our CEO Week schedule, which if you haven't learned that, go to hollymariehaynes.com/CEO Week. And this is going to be your content creation day. So 1 day a week, it could be for 1 hour, it could be for 2 hours, whatever you have time for. This is where you're going to write as much content as possible. This is your home base. So 1 day a week, I sit down and I write as many podcast episodes as possible, right? When you are sitting down to do this, it could be an email, it could be a blog, it could be a video, and we're basing it off of the exercises that we did above. What did our audience tell us when we asked a poll? What did our audience tell us when we sent an email asking questions? What happened when I did that 30-30 exercise, right? So you're creating content based on the outcome of the previous step. What is your audience experiencing right now? What are you asking? What season is it? And how can you help the most? So once you have this long form content and you've got it on a repeatable process once a week, now I want you to map it out on how you're going to repurpose it. And again, this is where you want to listen to episode 436 because we talk about how to do that. But perhaps it goes to a blog, perhaps it goes to Instagram, perhaps it goes to YouTube. But the goal, the trick here is if you're taking notes, I want you to create a visual map. So every single week you're following the same process. Every Monday you're writing content, every Tuesday you're repurposing it, or whatever day makes the most sense. So we're repeating the same process over and over and over again and keeping it super simple. So now we've created the content and it's time to share. Now, if I'm being honest, this is where everyone gets stuck, but here's where you can get unstuck. I want you to create templates for each platform you're sharing on. So as an example, if you're writing a blog and then you want to share it to a social post and then to YouTube, I want you to create templates for that. Now, remember, one of the steps was to create a map. So we're not starting from scratch. You can start with one thing. You don't have to do 5, right? But let's pretend that you wrote a blog and then you want to put it to Instagram and then you want to put that to YouTube. So as an example, you could create a blog template. This template includes headers and bullet points and SEO-friendly elements that you can use every single week. You can also pull your keywords ahead of time so that you have all that ready to go. And when it's your content day, all you're doing is using the template for your blog. You have everything else ready to go. So you're not getting stuck in figuring out all the other things that go along with this. When you create your social post, you can create 3 to 5 templates in Canva. So as an example, we rotate between 3 different reel covers, 2 different carousel posts, and 1 static post. If you go look on my Instagram, you will see that it's the same thing on repeat. We have used the same templates for the last 6 months. You do not need to change them. Just swap out the photos. It's that easy. Like, let's not make it complicated. And then last but not least, this is probably one of my favorites and biggest time savers, is create folders either on like a Google Drive or on your phone so that you have things ready to use. So as an example, I have folders in my iPhone that is saved with video or B-roll. B-roll is like moving video of me working or my kids playing, whatever that is. I have a family folder. I have a retreat folder. I have a photo shoot folder. I have a Holly podcasting folder. So when I sit down to create my content on content day, I don't have to be like, oh man, I didn't shower today. I really don't want to post this picture, right? Well, I probably would anyways. But what I'm saying is it makes it easier because it's already done. So I'm just going to the folder. I'm dropping it in the reel template. I have my content because I'm using the repurposing strategies that we talked about in episode 436. And then I'm using my Instagram cover and I'm just changing the text out. So it's all right there. I pull in the video, I add the text. I can literally make a reel in maybe 5 minutes and I can schedule it. So I'm not even opening the app. Like nothing is happening with me consuming. It's all creating. So remember that every time you go to create content, you can actually repurpose from your long form content using tools like Google Gemini, which again, if you haven't listened to episode 436, I think it's our most popular episode in the last 2 years. So go listen to it. Hopefully this is getting you excited about how easy it is to create content. But the last step is to schedule it with a scheduling tool. So we use Metricool. And like I said, even though I'm on a social break currently when I'm recording this, I'm not on the app at all. And we still have scheduled posts. We're still getting interaction. And I have not opened the app in 7 days. Like, you can do this. So when you post or share any of your content, the one thing to remember is you always want to have a call to action. So remember step number 1. What are we asking people to do? What are we pointing people to with our content? So we use an app called ManyChat to engage offline. You can point people to download a freebie. You can point people to join your email list. You can ask questions to get more engagement. But it's just super, super simple. Just remember that you need to have a call to action. We don't have to overcomplicate it. So this content plan is literally the easiest content plan you could ever create, and it works. Our engagement since implementing this about 4 months ago has increased 150%. And that is because we're being consistent and it's content that has a strategy behind it. So this is a super, super simple way to just get out of the content overwhelm and really think about it in 3 steps: plan, post, and then profit, right? So you're planning your content to the thing that you actually want to make money off of, the action that you want people to take. And I know that I covered a lot in a super short episode, but the end goal is to keep it really, really simple. Use tools to help you repurpose and always have a call to action. And then last but not least, you want to track your results. So at the end of the month, when you're getting ready to set your next profit goal, remember, because we're doing this on repeat, simply look back and track how it worked. So I have a reminder on my calendar for the last Friday of every month to look at the metrics. And I simply write down, it's in not a fancy spreadsheet. It's literally super plain. And it's like, how many new email followers do we have? Where did our most engagement come from? What topics were the most popular? And you can do this again and again and again on repeat, making sure that you're continuing to do the things that work and then adjusting the things that don't. So last but not least, as we're creating this super simple content plan, is to save your work. So make sure to write everything in a Google Doc first so that it's easily searchable and reusable. And then you can actually use tools like Zapier to save all your social media posts to a spreadsheet. So if the stats tell you that it worked well, guess what? Next month, you can post the same thing with a different photo because we have everything on repeat. So this is just a reminder, right, that summer can be fun and profitable. I want you to think about, what is your end goal for the month? How can you work backwards on topics using our 30-30 exercise and asking questions to your audience? Creating content then on a really basic schedule, 1 day a week, and then repurposing it so it can get to all of your platforms and actually make a difference. So I'm super curious, what do you think of this easy content strategy? Do you think that this is something that you can follow this month? And if you do, I would love to see your results.